So in this video, I decided to come up with an individual character idea, and he's not going to be alone for this, and I can't imagine him being a individual fighter. This is an idea for Timmy Turner being implemented in this game and how he can be played as a new character for DLC. And I'm not sure if anyone has watched the show. I'm not sure some people do, but just see all the characters on the screen. Let's bring up the menu just as usual. Just go to the battle screen and just bring up the characters on the select screen. I wish I had a better one that I can go to, but it displays all the characters so everybody can see who's in the game right now from the beginning all the way till now, with our first character being Garfield. But who knows if he's going to be out at some point, if it's going to be something that's going to come to fruition for Timmy Turner being implemented into this game. So I have several ideas, and I'm just going to run through the whole list, and I'm going to have all my little ideas and everything I discussed in the description. You guys can share your reactions of what you guys think of this character and how you think he should play, and maybe some potential skins and stages, or maybe some other characters from this universe that can be implemented from Fairly Odd Parents. I'm not sure if anyone out there, not everybody out there, has seen all these shows and see all these different characters. Some people grew up in different times. They had different cartoons they would watch. They haven't really gotten to know these characters for who they are. They're just there in the game, and they're just someone that might look cool to play, and they might just pick them because of the picture. But see other characters, they don't have their names. They don't know who they are and who's who. They just have their faces, and it's just a little colorful background in it. You don't know who's who. How can someone know who's? Let's throw it out there. It's like for aim, for example, somebody with an arrow on his head, or Powdered Toast Man. He's got a bread head or something like that. But just some of these characters, they would be easily thrown off to not know who they are. But just let's get into it with Timmy Turner and how my ideas of how he can probably be implemented into this game. And if he's coming out, if he ever comes out, if you guys watch the show, Timmy Turner has never really been alone. He's always been with Cosmo and Wanda, his fairy godparents, who grant his every wish. And within every wish any wish that he desires, they will grant it right off the bat. And obviously, when you watch the show, they have some rules that, some things that cannot be, undone, or just stuff like that with the duh rules, something like that. The duh rule book, if you guys remember that, and just the rules displayed for any sort of person that they're with, or any sort of kid that they're with. They have to know about the rules and can't break them, and know what cannot be wished for. But it's a good idea to have them bundled in this game, and just have them just any spot of them or the screen here. You can have Timmy Turner in the same picture they can share a picture together. Timmy Turner, Cosmo and Wanda all in the background, and just have them together. And I'm not saying you have to buy Cosmo and Wanda. Timmy Turner could just be his own individual characters. I'm not sure how much they would charge for paid DLC for one new character when they get to that point, but they can just all be together. And I'm going to start with the new stages that can be with him. And I'm not saying every character every DLC character will have a new stage. Who knows what's going to come out? They might just bring out the character himself, him or her, the new character, whoever it is. He or she may not have a stage. It might not come out with a stage. It might just be the character itself, the character alone. But some new stages just to start with from Fairly Odd Parents. Since I've watched the show so many times, I just love the show, and it's just a crime that he's not in this game. And you would think that someone like Timmy Turner would be a part of the original roster, or the main roster at that. But new stages just to talk about, just to start with, is Dimmsdale Dimmadome. Anybody remember that from the TV show? Dimmadome. That's where everything goes down. Everything goes down with just all the different events. Remember his teacher, Mr. Crocker, who was just fail everybody, give out just F's everywhere. But Mr. Crocker's classroom. How about that for another potential stage? You got Dimmsdale Dimmadome, and the second idea is Mr. Crocker's classroom is the classroom he attends every day that he goes to school. And then if they can't get the classroom or Dimmsdale Dimmadome, why not some kind of location that's located in the city of Dimmsdale? And then for another last idea, for a fourth stage, is Fairy World. Fairy world is where all the fairies really or usually come from, where all the fairies that are really sent to these kids down to Dimsdale, Dimmadome, or wherever they have to go, and for their fairy godparents, they are originally from fairy world, Cosmo and Wanda. So why not get that stage? Wouldn't those be some cool ideas for potential stages to be implemented and to be with the character for DLC? All in one package sort of DLC purchase. So those are the stages. Now for some costumes for Timmy Turner, and I also came up with some for Cosmo and Wanda. So let's start with some alternate skins or maybe some alternate costumes just to discuss for Timmy Turner. Cleft the Boy Chan Wonder. If you guys remember how he used to be, he would hang out with the Crimson Chin in the comic books to help him stop crying. He would help him out, and I forgot the villains. It was one particular villain that would shoot stuff from his knees. It was like magnets or horseshoes or something like that. I forgot what his name was, but he would battle against him. He would fight crime against him and some other villains from the comic books and help the Crimson Chin. Another idea for alternative skin for a costume, his Crash Nebula costume that he wore, because he also liked Crimson Chin, and also another hero he liked was Crash Nebula. He was on the cereal boxes, I think, from some of the episodes. And then one more potential alternative skin for Timmy Turner, I would say it's popular Timmy when he wished to be popular so he can get the attention of Trixie Tane. If you guys remember that episode. If it's things like that, that would be an awesome costume I think people would like to buy and maybe purchase from Timmy Turner's alternate costumes. I'm not saying they probably gonna get them all. They might not even have any alternative skin for him, but these would be some cool little ideas. Now for Cosmo and Wanda DLC skins, and the only alternatives or alternate costumes I could think of for Cosmo and Wanda is they can get Anti-Cosmo and Anti-Wanda. I don't know what you guys think of that. That'll be pretty dope to see. And they were just different versions of Cosmo and Wanda. They would have different personalities, but of course, they wouldn't have to have them in the game. I'm not sure if they'll even be able to add those, but those would be some cool ones to really have the players select from and be able to choose and select from available for purchase. Anti-Cosmo and Wanda, so that way, not only is Timmy Turner getting an additional costume or a different skin, Cosmo and Wanda can have their own individual skins in their DLC outfits for the player to pick and choose from. So those are the stages, and those are the alternate skins and costumes. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the moveset. So I don't have all the different ideas, but I just have an idea how he can really be able to play when he gets into the game, and you can control him hands-on. And for some of you Smash players, we'll probably be able to recognize some of these references that I'm going to be able to list. And just to start, just what I have listed, let's talk about his moveset. So Timmy Turner, see how in Pokemon, and I was gonna say in Pokemon, in the Pokemon trainer in Super Smash Bros. Was able to switch between a variety of Pokemon. You had Squirtle, you had Ivysaur, and then you had Charizard. 3 different Pokemon with their own individual moves. Now, I'm not saying that has to happen with Cosmo and Wanda, but it'll be something similar to how you can switch. That's the Pokemon change, and switching the Pokemon out whenever you see fit. You can switch. Why not be able to switch between the fairies that Timmy Turner can have assist him in the fight? Switch between Cosmo and Wanda, and Cosmo and Wanda can have their individual spells or individual wishes that they can grant Timmy Turner. What do you guys think about that? And they can call it Fairy Change, and when they showcase like his moves in the spotlight, a Fairy Change, and the player will be able to switch between Cosmo and Wanda for a variety of spells and different wishes to help him grant buffs and give him different advantages and different abilities. And I was also just saying, just what I have listed here, they can grant him certain wishes from Cosmo and Wanda, maybe defensive buffs possibly for Wanda, and then when the player switches to Cosmo, maybe he'll have some kind of offensive attack maneuvers or offensive attack wishes that'll really do some serious damage to the opponent, maybe some projectiles and stuff like that. And of course, you wouldn't be able to attack or kill off or knock out Cosmo and Wanda, they'll be completely invisible. They'll just be the whatever fairy the player is using at the moment between Cosmo and Wanda. They'll just follow Timmy around on the stage. See what I'm saying? So that'll be something cool, and just something for that proper balance. So the player doesn't spam just Cosmo and Wanda. Well, Cosmo has the better spells or the better wishes or the better abilities for Timmy Turner. It can to match that balance. It can be maybe some sort of kind of time limit or maybe a cooldown period where you can only have Cosmo active in the battle or in the fight for a limited amount of time, and then the player has no choice but to switch to Wanda. So maybe if you favor Wanda or Cosmo and vice versa, whichever fairy that you favor, you can be that you will be forced to. The player is encouraged to learn how to fight with Cosmo by Timmy's side and also with Wanda, so both fairies can get some kind of love and some kind of spotlight and some playability. So the player knows how to play when Cosmo's around for a limited amount of time, and then when Wanda is around. And if they switch the fairy, they can have some kind of fairy gauge or something like that, of a bar to represent that time limit. And the longer they stay out, it'll just slowly start to dwindle and go down and deplete the bar, and it'll be like a certain, maybe like a 15-20 second cooldown period, and then that fairy can be available to play, maybe even 30 seconds, something like that. I'm not sure what could be the actual time limit for the fairy to go on a cooldown or to be timed out and to be force changed or to be switched out at the time. Some kind of hidden time limit where the player has to change fairies if they're out for too long. I think that'll be a cool little idea to see implemented. And even if they don't add a cooldown period, it can still be some kind of balance where you can a hidden time limit where they switch or they get tired and they're ready to change, and you can just do like a little tag team and switch between Cosmo and Wanda in the battles. So I'm not sure what other moves that he can probably have to reference different shows. Maybe he can have a little, some school supplies, something like that. But that was something I would like to see. I can imagine for Mr. Crocker being implemented into this game for his teacher. But I don't know what other moves that Timmy Turner can have. I don't think he can fight without Cosmo and Wanda. I don't see him being added solo as an individual character. I don't know what you guys think, and maybe you guys could share some ideas in the comments and share your reactions to what you think of these different ideas. But that's just a little bit of an idea just of how I see him being played as for something similar to Pokemon Trainer, how you can switch between the Pokemon and then maybe those different abilities. Maybe like Shulk, he can have different things. See how Cosmo and Wanda can be implemented. He can just switch between those to give him different buffs and grant him some kind of defensive ability, and maybe his attacks get stronger for a limited amount of time, and that can also be on a little bit of a cooldown period as well. But that's why I came up with just the fairy change, the hit time limit, and how he can just the player can switch between each fairy and be able to be encouraged to use both fairies and utilize them in the fight the right way. And when they want to change, they can, but the amount of time that they lost with that particular fairy will also be able to be retained. You cannot recover it unless that fairy is completely switched out. Maybe they can do something like that, and then over time it'll gradually go back up when that fairy is available. They can have her Cosmo Wanda's pictures on the screen, so you can see who's ready and what's the status of your fairies and who can come in and who needs a break. You see what I'm saying? I think that'll be amazing to really see that put together. So that's just a little bit of how I think Timmy Turner can be implemented into Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. If they can make it happen at some point, maybe later on this year, or maybe in the near future, somehow, some way. But let me know what you guys think, and just all of my ideas that I talked about will just be in the description of what you guys think. Skins, stages, and it's so many things that they can do with him. He definitely belongs in the game, and just like I said, it's so shocking to see that he's not in it. But not every character that we want, it takes time to get the licenses and the rights to these characters. But just everything I shared, I really see that being some kind of a cool little idea of how he can be played, and Cosmo and Wanda to be represented with their own wishes, and being able to fairy change when necessary, and be able to fit the situation to give Timmy Turner all the help that he needs, and to help his wishes come true to get the victory. So, let me know what you guys think about these ideas. This is something else. I might even do some more characters for something similar to what I did with Timmy Turner today. I just wanted to do something different tonight. So maybe I'll come up with some more character ideas for other potential fighters, maybe some other characters from different shows, and maybe some other villains of how they can be played.